So fire kind of works. Maybe? No, it doesn't. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to bring attention to the Return of Nerfdivers. And before you freak out, I don't think it's exactly what it used to be, but it is happening in a much different way from last year. And it's very clear there's a massive disconnect on what the game's long-term health needs versus what we're actually getting. So today I'm going over performance issues, the random hidden nerfs, the different problems that keep getting fixed and then reverted, and most importantly, why I think these faster broken updates are alienating the core player base. So lighting this off, we'll dive right into one of the biggest problems with Helldivers 2 right now, and that's status effects being inconsistent or completely broken in a lot of cases. Performance does have something to do with this as well, so that's later on, but you can see this is just at the very start of the game, just above my head at the top right here. And these zombies take 0 damage, they don't wake up from the gas grenade, and they only activate when I get too close to them. Then they eat a bunch of fire damage on the ground from the crisper, and then they're randomly dying to it, but mostly die from the direct damage. And it's just not working good. Like, the Illuminate are in a very bad spot right now. And when I went to test this on the bots, I didn't notice anything too crazy, but on the bugs was where I noticed it get really weird. You can see the hunters get affected by the damage, but not the confusion effect. So my assumption is that if you affect too many enemies at once with status, it done broke. But another big problem that I have with this is with some of the Helldivers community in itself. A lot of people are saying it's like the old host bug from last year, but I showed in less than 2 minutes of testing that it's broken for the host too. I know a lot of you have seen this kind of thing happen pretty much everywhere, where people that don't play the game talk about it like they do, then when they get called out on it, it's like they haven't logged in since last year. And the even more ridiculous part is the people that just pretend there's no problems at all. And pretending things aren't real got us into a little bit of a predicament last year. Plus, going in myth busting all these random Helldivers claims that, like, I go read tons of threads when I'm on my porcelain throne, or just requests from my community or in my main Discord or stream chat. It doesn't matter wherever I get the info from. I just go for all of it, and then I just go test it. And it's some of the most fun that I have every single update, and it's something I've done since the first TCS mission. And it's thanks to working together with all you guys that I've gotten really good at finding these problems. And I think it's really important to talk about the positive and negatives every single update instead of just only the positives, because that doesn't really get anybody anywhere. And that's how a lot of everybody's favorite games just ended up updating themselves to death. We want Helldivers to grow and improve because, honestly, when Arrowhead cooks content, it's amazing. This update, we got bot mega cities, the Walkie Boy, and most importantly, the surge modifiers. These have amazing potential for ramping difficulty correctly to be like challenging, fun, and fair long term. And like, all the content is really fun to play, but the negatives that come alongside it take so much away from the experience. And I don't think it needs to be that way. The CEO did apologize for the state of the game, though, and said they're going to be working on performance when they get back. But this isn't the first time this has happened. If they just took more time and tested big updates properly, it would go a long way for them. And it's something that everybody who plays the game consistently has been asking for a long time. And something should never drop if it's going to go below the recommended requirements that they have for the game, because right now there is no possible way to hit these FPS targets without like a god tier PC. I just upgraded mine and I'm averaging 45 FPS with optimized settings. I also don't think you can get much of a better PC than I have right now without dropping another 3 grand on fake frames that wouldn't even work on this game. There's also these really weird stuttering issues that keep happening, and every single time I hit a load screen, my computer is just screaming. And GameGuard is on a generational run right now. The crash issue that black screens your computer is GameGuard memory dumping your PC. And it's not people cheating, by the way. It's a bunch of false positives because it's hooking into programs it's not supposed to be allowed to. For instance, oh, hey, look, GameGuard took control of my camera again. Hey, guys. Last time it hooked into my mic, and I had to restart my computer to get it out of my mic, by the way. So that was really cool. It also just eats a ton of resources and obliterates FPS. From my perspective, they have access to a bunch of really easy FPS gains, but just choose to ignore them. I think that the best example that gets brought up pretty much all the time is the multiple layers of the haze of doom that blocks your vision. It drastically lowers your FPS and could easily be toned down. Like, when we went and played Battlefront 2, it's super old and it has that very like light haze over the maps and like Ewok Hunt or whatever. And it adds to the atmosphere, right? It it, it makes you feel like you're part of the world. But when I'm on Helldivers, this, like, when I can't see anything, it's just removing me from the game more than anything. And on top of that, like, it just makes the game feel better to play. You have to think about when you go play on the moon, the performance is better. It's being able to see the actual map and all the effects and everything happening. Like, it looks better. It immerses you. It feels way better to play. And then you compare it to something like a piss planet that's had its lighting cooked for half a year, and you're just wondering what's happening. But moving on to some console problems, because a lot of people are showing me some pretty crazy things. The audio is something else. Holy fuck. This is completely cooked. Holy shit. The audio mixing this update also sounds really bad on quite a few weapons, and I think that the best possible example is the Stalwart. Midnight Mode does not fix the audio. This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about that doesn't need to be implemented until it's ready. Like, breaking something for unfinished content makes the game feel bad to play, and it doesn't need to happen. This also isn't a new thing. It's been happening for a very long time. So now we're going to time travel a little bit back to when things started getting messed up. Our reference point is going to be post 63-day plan in December, where we had the Illuminate update, where the game's performance was amazing. The overall gameplay experience was just really good, and hopefully this lets you see my perspective on why I think a whole different kind of Nerfdivers returned. There was a balance update that made a lot of people pretty happy, but it came at the cost of Ragdoll being broken again. This is a clip of what Ragdoll is supposed to look like when it's fixed, and this is a clip of what it turned into. Arrowhead made posts about this for months about making the player feel helpless, so for this to get broken and remain unfixed since then it's just crazy to me. Then the first big example of pick rate nerf was to the Ultimatum on February 11th. The Servants of Freedom Warbond was insanely hype. Everything in there was insanely hype. This update was just cool. And they did go back on the Ultimatum nerf, but the real problem with that update was that it was rushed out and it added a ton of input delay to the game. It made it difficult to do something as simple as just swapping weapons, and anybody who played that time frame understands exactly what I'm saying. Then in March, the input delay and performance got even worse when they reworked the AI, added the Wormdiver fix, and added Factory Strider convoys. The Wormdivers patch was supposed to stop you from sliding around on your belly like a slug, which I know a few of you liked a little bit too much, but this change added a stun to when you get ragdolled, making you unable to action your character for 0.8 seconds. They changed that down to 0.5 seconds in the most recent update, and it's very noticeable that the lower this gets, the better the game feels to play, but it still forces you into those crazy chains of ragdoll that don't let you play the game for a ridiculous amount of time, man. It's an example of a bad band-aid fix for a bug that most people don't care to abuse in the first place. Like, the combination of ragdoll with the Wormdivers fix just makes the game feel bad to play. You could also just press Z twice, get meleeed, or ragdoll yourself to get out of Wormdiver mode, which, by the way, Wormdivers is still not fixed. You can still slide around for like a slug. And for this change to be in the game that actively makes it feel worse to play and doesn't solve a problem just makes absolutely no sense to me. And again, we talk about the content that came beside this stuff, and it was just insanely fun to play. Everybody was mauling that the Predator Strain was gone for 3 weeks in that time frame. They came back. The Incineration Core got added. The Factory Strider convoys were there. And one of the best battles ever played happened on Poopley 9, where we got to fight the Jet Brigade and the Incineration Corps at the same time. Like, this, for me, this was one of the most hyped things that ever happened on the game. Like, freak levels of fun. And it left more of an impact on me than Super Earth did. So, like, again, the content's amazing, and then there's these things taking away from it when they don't need to be. And then jumping to the Return of the Illuminate, they did manage to lower the input delay a lot, and they made massive performance gains, and even attempted to fix stratagems rolling. This was a cool bug. I know why it needed to be removed, because everybody was just crashing people's games. There's tons of griefing going on, but, like, they did a good job with this update, and it was really good. and it's the usual like it's so over, we're so back cycle in full force, and then that super earth event happened and it was insanely hype. And that also takes us into the July update that made it so melee weapons can't overpen things anymore, which wasn't included in the patch notes, which is a massive nerf. This means that you can't stun a charger with the lance, for instance, by hitting it in the leg. Like, that's impossible now. And this random unlisted nerf on already extremely undertuned weapons makes absolutely no sense. And they also made it so that you can't reload inside of the FRV anymore, which is weird. A while ago, they also made it so it's way more fragile. Like, you used to be able to shoot flamethrowers out of this thing and really go crazy, and now it just dies so fast. Like, there's so many weird FRV changes that happen. Then the changes to stun were so small that they did almost nothing in terms of breakpoints. The notes don't show the real values, but they show the numerical stuff for everything else. So again, I want full numerical values in all of the patch notes all the time. It went from 1.2 to 1.5, and every enemy in the game has a stun value assigned to it. So if you wanted to stun an alpha commander, for example, you would need to hit it 4 times with the current value, but because stun value starts decaying instantly the second you hit something, you need 5 shots. Under the old value, it was 6 shots, and most enemies in the game barely hit the thresholds needed for this to matter, so it wasn't a change that made any meaningful difference. Not to mention the urchin grenade just turned into a meme now, and I know most people don't want to hear this, but it did have solid use cases before this patch, and it was one of the best area denial tools in the game. Like, it just shut it down. And if you used it just by throwing it on the floor, like, it was good. But now it's just a meme troll pick that you throw on your friends to knock them around. And I do understand that they wanted to get the Warbond out before they left for vacation. And I think that that by itself would have been fine. But the patch that came with it clearly wasn't ready. It didn't really address any core issues, and it just made changes that don't really make that much sense. And the crazy, like, again, it's crazy. The content is peak. We have this massive invasion of gloom bugs, which, like, the gloom bugs are crashing a lot. They have that problem when they launch. It seems like the gloom bugs just have problems with crashing. But these surge modifiers that came with it, like, this is S tier content for me. Like, it just makes me imagine if they added a tab where we could just click all the surge enemies, just have a massive difficulty slider. Like, that's the potential in my mind. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're looking at. And that catches us up to today's update that fixed the spread on the Epoch. It still has, like, a max fire range before it automatically explodes, but it seems to be limited to the inner circle for dispersion at 100 meters. We also got a bunch of crash fixes, a pacifier fix, and a warp pack fun nerf. Maybe it did cause some lag or some problems just jumping out of the ship, but these cool fun bugs that are just stupid make Helldivers special, and I still have all the same problems when I don't have the warp pack equipped. And the main point that I'm trying to make here over anything else is that a lot of these changes, at least in my eyes, they end up having priorities that don't make sense for the long-term health of the game or really make any sense at all. And important issues that have been fixed before end up getting accidentally removed and then never fixed again. And then we have these rushed updates in between the title updates that aren't just alienating the hardcore long-term fan base, but hurting, like, every kind of experience on the game. And it sucks because you're right there. Well, like, we're so close to peak. And again, the gameplay is there. Like, it's fun to play. I would say Helldivers is more fun to play right now than it ever has been. And like, the performance issues take so much away from that. And I don't think there needs to be this "it's so over" arc. And the reason that I wanted to make this in the way that I did is to bring proper attention to these issues in a way that more people could resonate with by visually seeing most of these things happen. Anybody who actually played the game this entire time really understands everything that I said because they experienced it firsthand. So I really hope that this helps a lot of this stuff stop happening and that we can welcome the Xbox divers properly to the game that we all know and love. So if you have any other issues that I missed or cool shit to show me, just at me with it in my Helldivers channel, my Discord, so I can check it out. I regularly go over and everything on stream and test it all out, and I'm going to keep doing that because you've all just been so kind to me and so generous, and it's one of the things that I do to help give back to you guys, or at least feel like I'm helping you guys, because I wouldn't be where I am without you. So I want to thank everybody again for everything, and I hope y'all have a great night.